When I was a little girl, all I wanted to see was me in the media. Someone fat like me, black like me, beautiful like me. If I could go back and tell little Lizzo something, I'd be like, you gonna see that person, but bitch, it's gonna have to be you.
Ain't nothing changed, nothing new here to see. This ain't nothing but some political maneuvering.
America.
Welcome to the eulogy, eat it up. It's called political buffoonery.
Now, I bet you thought we'd be talking about another lawsuit that came out yesterday, but we're not doing that. Welcome to This Week in DUMBmocracy, the show that showcases the dumbest newsmakers of the week. So yeah, I know, everybody else is talking about the Trump indictment, but we're not going to do that here because everyone else is covering the Trump indictment. There are literally thousands of people that are going to be prognosticating about what the indictment means about January 6th with Donald Trump. We're not going to go there. I want to talk about another lawsuit that comes out because, listen, while other people are talking about the fate of the republic and democracy, we're talking DUMBmocracy. So before we get to talking about this lawsuit involving Lizzo, please be sure to like, share, comment on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Let's get into the story here. This is from the AP. Lawsuit by former dancers accuses Lizzo of sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment. Lizzo has been sued by 3 former dancers who accused the Grammy winner of sexual harassment and alleged the singer and her production company created a hostile work environment. The civil lawsuit filed Tuesday in Los Angeles County Superior Court claims Lizzo pressured the dancers to engage with nude performers at a club in Amsterdam and shamed one of them for her weight gain before firing her. Now, I just want to go back up to the photo of Lizzo here. This is an artist that has advocated against what she perceives as unhealthy body norms and for bigger women. And listen, it takes different strokes to move the world. She can say whatever she wants. I don't necessarily have to agree with it. You don't necessarily have to agree with it. But this is what her stance has been about, as you saw from our opening vignette, advocating for more people like her to be in media and on screen. But now an allegation that she is shaming the exact same thing that she's been fighting against? Let's see more about what's going on here. Plaintiffs Ariana Davis, Crystal Williams, and Noel Rodriguez made numerous charges including sexual, religious, and racial harassment, disability discrimination, assault, and false imprisonment. The legal complaint seeks unspecified damages and names Melissa Vivian Johnson, known as Lizzo, her production company, Big Girl Big Touring Inc., and Charlene Quigley, who is a captain of the performers' dance team, with these charges. Representatives for Lizzo didn't immediately respond to emails seeking comment on the lawsuit. The court filing claims that after performing a concert in Amsterdam, Lizzo and her crew attended a sexually themed show at a club in the city's notorious red light district where, quote, Lizzo began inviting cast members to take turns touching the nude performers. Okay, that's interesting. Finally, the chorus became overwhelming and a mortified Miss Davis, who's one of the plaintiffs, acquiesced in an attempt to bring an end to the chants. Plaintiffs were aghast with how little regard Lizzo showed for the bodily autonomy of her employees and those around her, especially in the presence of her many people whom she employed. And as you see, the article goes into what I was talking about earlier. Lizzo routinely champions body positivity, is also accused of calling out Davis for her weight gain after accusing the dancer of not being committed to her role. Davis was fired in May for recording a meeting during which Lizzo had given out notes to dancers about their performances, according to the complaint. Quigley, who's the dance captain and also served as a judge on Lizzo's reality show, Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls, is accused in a lawsuit of pushing her Christian beliefs onto dancers. So now we're getting the other perspective here. So we're touching nude dancers and being forced to do things that we don't want to do on one hand. We got hypocrisy on the second hand, and now we got this third hand, if there is such a thing, with a lawsuit claiming that the dance captain was referring to Davis as a non-believer and told co-workers that, quote, no job and no one will stop me from talking about the Lord. This lawsuit's all over the place. So I did find a video online with some interviews with the plaintiffs in this matter, and just want to see how TV is spinning this story as well.
I'm so new to this industry, and for this to be my first experience is really crazy.
Ariana Davis and Crystal Williams were both on Lizzo's Amazon Prime show.
Watch out for the big girls.
The pair also went on tour with a Grammy Award-winning artist whose real name is Melissa Jefferson. Davis says she was pressured to attend sex shows in Europe even though it was against her religious beliefs.
To be honest, this was a corporate office, and she was doing exactly the same thing that she was doing on tour. Immediately, that would be so many HR violations.
On Tuesday, the dancers and their lawyer filed a lawsuit against Lizzo, the star's production company, and Shirlene Quigley, who's the captain of Lizzo's dance team. Quigley posted to Instagram the same day the suit was filed, but did not reference it directly.
And I just feel so blessed. I feel so thankful. I feel so full of joy. I had such an amazing time on tour.
The dancers say they were subjected to a hostile work environment that included weight shaming and unequal pay. Williams says she's speaking out because Lizzo is set to do a second season of her Amazon Prime show.
So if there's anything that I can do in my power to ensure that dancers or singers or whoever decides to work with her don't have to go through that same experience, I'm going to do that.
The pair says they were eventually fired from Lizzo's tour.
Nobody speaks up because they're so scared for their jobs. I was terrified for my job.
Okay, so that's pretty interesting. You know what I like to do in these situations is go directly to the primary source. Let's go to the lawsuit itself and see what we find. Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show. So I was able to find a copy of the lawsuit online. As you see, Williams versus Big Girl Big Touring Inc. et al. This was indeed filed in the Superior Court of the State of California. Now, disclaimer, I am a New York licensed attorney, so I am not familiar with the laws of the state of California. I don't practice in the state of California. I'm not going to be giving advice on how to conduct a lawsuit in the state of California. We're just going to read and see some of the allegations here concerning some of the more outrageous behavior. All right, so here we go. Factual allegations. This case enters on 3 professional dancers' experiences working for Big Girl Big Touring Inc. and Melissa Vivian Jefferson, professionally known as Lizzo. Throughout their employment, plaintiffs, and you see their names there, were subjected to a host of violations of California law. On or about March 2021, the plaintiffs were introduced to Lizzo when they were contestants on her reality show, which was released on Amazon Prime Video, and there's discussion about that. Let's get to the juicy stuff here. On or about February 23rd, plaintiffs performed with Lizzo in Amsterdam. After the show, Lizzo invited the dancers out with her on the town. Now, is that considered to be during work hours? I guess this might be an issue in the lawsuit, if this was off work hours or if this was part of their professional responsibilities to go out. These invitations were not unusual, and attendance was not mandatory, but it was well known that dance cast members were expected to endear themselves to Lizzo. Lizzo often mentioned that she had, quote, eyes and ears everywhere and only wanted, quote, good people with good energy around her. Those who attended after-party events Lizzo planned were often favored, selected to perform with Lizzo at shows outside of regularly scheduled tour dates, and were widely considered to enjoy greater job security. That's an interesting allegation. Let's go on. By not attending, dancers not only risk losing out on being selected for those additional shows and therefore additional income, but also risk being ostracized by the group. I think a lot of this has to do with peer pressure, as we'll see from the allegations. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. So while at this bar, things quickly got out of hand. Lizzo began inviting cast members to take turns touching the nude performers, catching dildos launched from the performers' lady parts, my goodness, and eating bananas protruding from said lady parts. Lizzo then turned her attention to one of the plaintiffs and began pressuring her to touch the breasts one of the nude performers. This guy needs an editor, whoever wrote this lawsuit. This guy or girl, whoever it was. Lizzo began leading a chant goading plaintiff. Plaintiff said 3 times loud enough for everyone to hear, "I'm good," expressing her desire not to touch the performer. So it looks like there was a case of peer pressure, and she was eventually made to do this uncomfortable thing. After Miss Davis briefly touched the performer's body part, the group burst into laughter. Miss Davis unabashedly laughed along, trying to hide how uncomfortable the interaction made her. I mean, what do you say about things like this? Let's see what it also says about the body shaming. On or about April 21, 2023, Miss Davis was called into a private meeting with Lizzo and the choreographer, Tanisha Scott. Lizzo and Miss Scott questioned whether Miss Davis was struggling with something as she seemed less committed to her role on the dance cast. Lizzo and Miss Scott pressed Miss Davis for an explanation why she seemed less bubbly and vivacious than she did prior to the tour starting. In professional dance, a dancer's weight gain is often seen as that dancer getting lazy or worse off as a performer. Lizzo and Miss Scott's questions about Miss Davis's commitment to the tour were thinly veiled concerns about Miss Davis's weight gain, which Lizzo had previously called attention to after noticing it at the South by Southwest Music Festival. Miss Davis stated that she was dealing with personal issues, but did not, nor would she ever let it affect her work. So there's more going on here than being led on. The point here is, everybody, when we're talking about a person who puts out a professional image, a celebrity buffoon like Lizzo, who puts out an image, gets involved in causes, champions issues, and in this case, body positivity, and then goes on to body shame people in her employ, that's clearly hypocrisy that I talk about in my book, Schnooks, Crooks, Liars, and Scoundrels, a field guide to identifying political buffoons, available right now on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, and other online bookstores. Like I said, this is more about the hypocrisy of Lizzo than anything else, and why we're bringing it up here. When you're a celebrity and you want to bring light to an issue, people will get offended by that, and they'll say, stay in your lane and things like that. I'm okay with celebrities, sports people, athletes, what have you, getting involved in celebrity causes. My problem becomes when they're not in it honestly. And given the allegation in this lawsuit, I now have to question whether Lizzo is being honest when it comes to body positivity, or if that's just her brand. If that is just the way that she got famous and the way she's retaining her fame. Is she pulling the ladder up behind her so that others like her can't make the same jump that she did? From the looks of the video, when I saw whoever was dancing in the video that was shown, it looked like they knew what they were doing. Certainly dance better than I do. Now, also, let's keep in mind, these are allegations. Whether or not these people were feeling pressure because Lizzo's famous and any questioning by her was detrimental to their career, or at least they perceived it that way, that's yet to be settled in a court of law. But at this point right now, I think it's safe to call hypocrisy on an allegation of body shaming from a celebrity who's supposed to champion body positivity. Thanks for listening to everything. You can now get back to your Trump indictment news. I appreciate you stopping by. Be sure to like, share, comment about the video, share the show with your friends, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. And we'll hopefully see you back for the next video, where we continue to talk about all the shenanigans going on this week in DUMBmocracy.
All views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.